Louisiana's 2 U.S. senators are split over efforts to overturn the presidential election when Congress officially certifies the Electoral College votes tomorrow.
That's the topic of this week's commentary by Eyewitness News political analyst and Gambit columnist Clancy.
Accusations are not evidence. Suspicions are not proof. Sadly, some folks just don't get that, including Louisiana's grandstanding Senator John Neely Kennedy. Kennedy's joining an effort to overturn certified election results in 6 states that voted for Joe Biden. That effort is doomed, and Kennedy knows it. Even President Trump's highest-ranking Senate ally, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, admits that Biden won. McConnell opposes efforts to overturn that result. One brave Louisiana Republican stands with McConnell. Senator Bill Cassidy joined a bipartisan group of senators urging Congress to certify Biden's Electoral College victory. Our nation's survival depends on the peaceful transfer of power and on the rule of law. Cassidy, to his credit, is standing up for both of those ideals. Kennedy, shamelessly, is undermining them.
This has been an expression of opinion by Clancy. Email your thoughts to commentary@wwltv.com.